Hey, welcome to Talks with Tony, where I have the opportunity to answer real questions from real people about real life. Thank you so much for joining me. Now, today's quote of the day is communication to a relationship is like oxygen to life. Without it, it dies. Now, let's get right to our questions today. Question number one.
Hello, Tony. This is Lee Wallace out of Gainsville, Florida. And my question was, what was the definition of what you said about nobody can beat you at being you?
Thank you, Lee. Nobody can beat you being you. That's one of my quotes. And I'll tell you, Lee, what I mean by that. I was talking to myself because I'm a little country. As you can tell, sometimes I have a country accent. And I remember it was probably last week this guy wrote me. He sent me a video telling me that I could reach another audience if I got some voice training and learn how to talk better. Basically what he was saying, like if I learn how to talk more proper, I could reach a higher educated audience, a more educated audience. Now, of course, he probably was trying to sell me on his services, but at the same time, he's telling the truth. You know, sometimes we judge people based on who they are, what color they are, how they talk, but every one of us is intended to do something and to reach a certain people. So if I change the way that I talk and I start talking, you know, super proper and it's giving me a headache, now I'm gonna miss out on the people who can relate to me just being myself. And when I try to be somebody else, guess what? I won't be better than them because that person talks that way naturally. That's how they were raised. So what I mean by that is when you are authentically you, no one can replace you. You'll see some people try to talk like me. You know, they'll try to talk with some slang or with an accent, trying to sound whatever, relatable or down to earth or whatever you may call it. And guess what? When you hear them, you're like, really? Come on, really? And some people who come from where I come from try to talk totally different with a different accent, and you look at them and they're stuttering. So what I mean by that is if you be yourself, ask yourself, what do I do well? What do I do well? And then you do that. And when you do that, you have a spot for you. Somebody else will do the same thing that you do, but they won't do it the same exact way you do it. So there is room for you if you are doing you and being you, and no one can replace you. So that's my explanation for that quote. Thank you so much for asking that. You had me ministering to myself today on that one. Let's take our next question.
Hi, my name is Alexis, and I'm calling from Tennessee. I have a question. So I wanted to know, how do you rebuild trust in a relationship once the trust has been completely broken? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alexis from Tennessee. Now, there was a quote I heard a long time ago, and I believe it was from Brian Tracy, and you may hear this over and over throughout these episodes, and it'll be in your spirit by the end. And I believe he said, if there is no trust, there is no relationship. Now, that was so important to me because when you look at a relationship, if you can't trust your partner, if you can't trust them when they are alone, when they're doing their own thing, then you really can't trust them at all. And if you can't trust them, then you can't really be with them, because being in a relationship will require that the two of you do your own thing sometime. You know, I have a partner right now, his wife loves to travel. If he didn't trust her, you know, she's in another country, literally another country, like every month for a week or 2 weeks. If they didn't have trust, it would be the end of them. I mean, they wouldn't last. But because he trusts her 100%, he can allow her to fulfill her travel dreams. So when you look at trust and you realize that it's gone, it takes two people to rebuild that trust. For the offender, the person who you have ruined the trust, you've broken the trust, you have to commit to doing everything in your power to regaining trust, meaning that you have to say, what will it take for you to trust me again? If you've cheated, now you may have to share passwords. You may have to be on your Facebook inbox right there on the couch in front of your other half. You may have to answer your text messages, answer your phone calls right in front of your other half. And yes, you may say, well, that makes me like a prisoner. That makes me feel like a child. Well, guess what? You're the one who broke the trust. So you have to go the extra mile to be completely and 100% transparent. I remember in relationship coaching one time, the young lady, she misspent some money. She misspent some money and spent some money without telling her husband. The husband found out and he felt like, I can't trust you. If you will give away money without asking me first, how can I trust you? Because I'm the breadwinner and I'm earning money. And if you go and give away $1,000 a day to a different friend and family member in need and we end up flat broke, and it's like you've been stealing money right from up under my nose. And so what she had to do is then she had to get every transaction approved. And yes, in a healthy relationship, in a normal situation, that would seem a bit much. But in this situation, to rebuild trust, she had to say, hey, this person asked, could they borrow $100? Or, hey, I saw these shoes and they were $150. And they had to come to an agreement, say, yes, you can do that. Now, after doing that and showing that transparency and being real for amount of time, then the man was able to say, okay, I trust you. I trust that you learn from that mistake and that you're going to make smart choices. And if not, that you'll sit down and talk with me about it. Now, on the other hand, if you were the person who it happened to you, you were the victim in this case, and your partner broke the trust, what you have to do is you have to ask yourself, can I forgive and forget? Forgive and forget does not mean that you will not remember what they did. Forget means that you will not continuously remind them of what they did. You cannot hold a person prisoner to their past. So you will have to look them in the eyes and say, I forgive you and I want to make it work and I want to give you another shot and I'm not going to hold it against you. As long as you're doing what you know you're supposed to do, I'm here for you. I'm here with you. And you have to be committed to seeing their efforts, to honoring their efforts and appreciating their efforts and not holding it against them, not rubbing it in their face, not reminding them every time you all have a disagreement, oh, well, you did this and oh, well, you said that. Because then you can't forgive and forget, you can't move forward, and they can't get over their past. And so you all will just be running in circles. So it takes two. And if you're both committed, one person committed to doing the work, whatever it takes, and the other person committed to recognizing the work, appreciating the work, and forgiving them of what they did wrong. That's a deep question, and we all have to face that at some time. Thank you so much, Alexis. Let's go to our next question.
Hello, my name is Christina. I'm calling from Virginia Beach, and calling to ask you, as far as I've been praying, I want to get married one day, and it's hard because I see my friends or other people get married, they're having children. I'm a single mom, but I do want to get married. I've been praying, and I'm just asked, how do you be patient, waiting for the Lord to bring you somebody, and make sure that you don't get distracted and just focus on the Lord. But I'm just wondering how I just want to keep believing God's going to do that, and I'm trying to be patient. Anyways, thank you. God bless.
Thank you so much for that question. And I know I may have to answer this, once every episode. So if you hear this different times, it'll be in your spirit. But this is, I feel like, the most popular question from single women today. And I want to remind you that the good book says faith without work is dead. So what I mean by that is, so often women get caught up going to work and going home. You go to work, you go home. You pump your gas, you go to the grocery store, but when you're doing those things, you're not paying attention, you're not looking around, you're on your phone. You're on your phone scrolling, comparing your life to everybody else's life, or you're on the phone talking to your mother or your sister or your best friend. You're just talking about your day, or you're gossiping, or you're complaining, and you're going through the motions. And while you are not in expectation, and while you are not prepared for your husband is walking right past you. So while you are waiting and praying, also be working. So make sure you have your investments in order, meaning investing into your mind, investing into your body, and investing into your business. So you should have a gym membership or a trainer that you go train Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Some people 5 days a week, some people 6 days a week. Even if it's walking 30 minutes around the neighborhood or on a treadmill, you're taking care of your body. You have a meal plan, so you're watching the way that you're feeding yourself. So this is going to help you function better. You have a bedtime. Yes, you may have some favorite shows, but you have a bedtime, so you're getting your beauty rest. And then you have your investments in your mind. You have a book of the week if you read fast, or you have a book of the month if you read slow. And every single week or every single month, if you get an audio book, you can finish that book in 1 week of your commute to work and back. So now you're growing, you're learning, you're expanding your mind, you're at peace because you are investing in yourself. And then your business. What are you doing for yourself in your career? Are you building someone else's dream and forsaking yours? It's okay to work for somebody. But unless that is your career for life, then don't get caught up just working for somebody else. On your off days, work on your business. You want to be a candle maker. You want to be a soap maker. You want to be a blogger. You want to be a life coach, an author, a speaker. What are you doing? How often do you go to TonyGaskinsAcademy.com and invest in a course to teach you how to write your book, or how to become a speaker, or how to find or create a balanced life? So if you are working while you are waiting, as you are moving towards your goal, it's moving towards you. So I want you to understand that, because I see so many women that literally it's like they are waiting on God to send the man to the doorbell and ring the doorbell and like, ding, God sent me. And that's not going to happen. So you have to get up, get out, position yourself, prepare yourself, and then it will happen sooner than you expect. And when it's not happening on your time, know that there is still work to be done. Have you started your nonprofit? Have you wrote your book? Keep working while you're waiting. Thank you so much for that question. Let's take another.
Hi, Tony. This is Joann, and I'm from Topeka, Kansas. My question to you is, why does guys say they want to be friends with you, and then you leave them alone, and then they keep reaching out to you as if they want to be with you? And then why is it when you date a guy, they want to act single, but then they want you to? So I know it's like two questions, but I'm just kind of curious, like, what is the reasoning for it? So thanks again. Bye.
Thank you so much, Joann from Kansas. Now, when a guy says he wants to be friends, but then he keeps reaching out. Now, there could be a whole lot of reasons, but one thing I want to explain is that most men want a fan, literally want a fan, a woman who likes him and wants to be with him, but he knows he doesn't want to be with her in that way. But you chasing him, you praising him, you admiring him makes him feel better about himself. So he wants you to be a fan while he's chasing the woman or the women who are treating him like a fan. So it's this cycle. And when he's not getting attention from the women he wants, then he wonders, where's my fan? Where's the woman that's, chasing me, the woman that admires me, the woman that wants me? And that's why he starts calling you like, hold on, stay here, fan. I want you to be there. It's the same thing like when you see celebrities and when they're real hot and big, they kind of sometimes dog people out, mistreat them. They have a fake humility. But then when they're falling off, now they want to do chats and Q&As and meet and greets because they're like, hey, where's the fan? Now they're having their publicist call TMZ to say, hey, such and such is going to be at this restaurant because they want the cameras in their face because their name is dying down. The same thing happens, in the mind of people in dating, men and women. It goes both ways. And so you have to ask yourself, am I a fan? And when you refuse to be a fan, and now you see that when you pull back, this person comes to you, I call it human physics. If you chase them, they're going to run. When you pull back, they're going to come to you. So when you see that happening, then now you have to ask yourself, am I a fan? Am I going to chase this man? Am I going to fall for his trap of trying to get me to be interested in him again when he just told me he wanted me as a friend? The other side of that is sometimes a man wants you to just be a friend and he continues to reach out to you because he wants to be friends with benefits. And you'll hear me say this and you're going to hear other, people start to say it too. There are no benefits to friends with benefits. So he wants you to chase him because if he can keep building with you and getting you comfortable, but not having any commitment to you, and y'all are just friends, eventually he feels that you're going to get weak enough, fall for him enough to where you'll become sexually active with him, but yet y'all still have no commitment. You're not exclusive and he owes you nothing, but now he has a friend with benefits. So that's the main reason right there. The other side of that, when you date a guy and he starts to act single, I post all the time, you teach people how to treat you by what you stop, what you allow, and what you reinforce. So if you start dating a guy and you're in a relationship, but it appears that he's acting as if he were a single man, that's when you have to stop that. That's when you have to pull back and realize that you're in a relationship with a single person, that you're in a relationship with someone who doesn't want to be in a relationship with you. And a man does that when you are his hold me down, when he's just holding on to you until the woman he wants comes along. He does that when he feels like you don't know your self-worth. He does that when he feels like you don't know who you are, and when he feels like you're gullible and naive. And so he can string you along and he can use you based off of what you've shown him. Something in your communication has let him know that you have low self-esteem, that you don't know who you are, that you really don't know what it takes to get what you want in the area of love. And he's playing on that and trying to take advantage of you in that area. So what you have to do is, instead of just sitting and wondering, you have to start learning more about men, learning more about love and relationships, getting more knowledge so that when you see the red flags, you can easily identify them. Thank you so much for that question. I think we have time for a couple more.
Yes, this is John from Columbus, Ohio. just dealing with someone indicating that they wanted to be more than a friend and changed their mind within 48 to 72 hours about just wanting to be friends. How to proceed. Thank you.
John, thank you so much for asking that question. I will tell you, you're in a dangerous situation because most women are ready for love. Like, they're ready to fall in love, to be in love. So when you have a wishy-washy woman, that can be worse than indecisive man. So what this means is one or two things, or it could be three. One thing is, it's probably some friends in her ear, telling her, giving her advice, telling her what she should and shouldn't do. Women love to talk with their girlfriends and have these conversations, and the girlfriends speak from where they are. So if the girlfriend is broke, busted, and disgusted, she's going to give broke, busted, and disgusted advice, and your woman is not going to know the difference. If she's miserable and she's angry about being single, she's going to give that type of advice. If she's gung-ho and because now she's celibate or born-again virgin or any of those things, she's going to give that type of advice. And so this oftentimes put the recipient of this advice on an emotional roller coaster because they're listening to other people. So that could be one thing. The other thing is, in her mind, she could be dating down. You could be trying to win a prize and she sees you in that light. So you may have her on a pedestal and she's looking down on you and really doesn't want to be with you, but trying to force herself to give the good guy a chance. Take the good guy out of the friend zone and give him a shot. But she's warring with herself because she's saying, okay, I hear Tony Gaskins talking about don't confuse my preferences with my standards. And so this guy meets my standards, but not my preferences. My preferences may be 6 figures, 6 foot tall, and a 6-pack. But my standards may be doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, loves God. And so you may meet her standards, but not her preferences. And so that could also be a reason why she is kind of torn and she's in the middle. The last thing that I could think of, which there could be a million reasons, the last thing could be there's another guy, that kind of more so has her attention or has her heart, and she's kind of confused. She's kind of torn, like, should I wait on the one I really want? It could be her ex trying and sending promises that he's changing, that he's growing, that he's going to be a better man. And so she could say, hey, I want to be more than friends with you. And then this guy pops right up. And a lot of times you ask a lot of women, as soon as they get ready to move on, the ex comes out of nowhere. And he's like Prince Charming. He's changed his whole life. He's done a 180. He's ready to be, settle down and do the right thing. And it just throws a monkey wrench in this woman's plans because she was like, wow, I was almost over you and you popped up out of nowhere. And so that could be another reason. I say that to say is that you have to choose for yourself. Is she worth the wait? Is she worth this roller coaster ride that you could go on? Because that's not a typical trait of a woman to be indecisive when it comes to love and relationships. So I feel like you could be barking up the wrong tree, and you have to ask yourself, can I afford to pursue this woman and to be led on and let down multiple times and still get up and move forward without losing my sense of self or without becoming bitter and disgruntled and angry at the female species? Ask yourself that question. Can I still love women the same if this woman breaks my heart? So that's your personal choice, personal decision that you have to make. And if you feel like she's worth it, then give it the shot. And you have to be willing to take a gamble sometimes on love if this person is everything that you've hoped and dreamed. All right, let's go to our next question.
Hi, Tony. My name is Antonette, and I'm calling from Altaloma, California. And my question to you is, how do you move on in a marriage from your husband cheating constantly or exposing his infidelity on Facebook and then blame me or have excuses for the reason why he does what he does? But then said, out of all that, I just want a separation, but he does not tell me why he wants a separation. I need your help. You're the man, Mr. Tony Gaskin. Keep doing what you do, and God bless you.
Thank you so much, all the way from California. Now, on this one, you're really going to have to look yourself in the mirror, and you're really going to have to ask yourself, why are you still there? Why are you asking this question? Where along the way did you lose yourself? Why do you even have to ask this question? You know, why is this coming up? That's the real issue, is that you've lost yourself. You've forgotten who you are, your own self-worth. And this man has no respect for you whatsoever. You've shown him a long time ago that you don't love yourself and that you don't respect yourself and that you don't know what a real man looks like and that you don't know, for whatever reason, we all are raised sometimes in a way that we don't learn love. You know, I wasn't sat down and taught how to be a man and how to love. And so we come from that sometimes. And this is where you have to really come to terms with that and look yourself in the mirror and say, you know, is this what I deserve? Is this what I want? And it's a dangerous thing when you are tiptoeing with this type of situation. You need a clean break. You need a clean cut. You got to cut ties. You got to move forward. You have to start to love yourself, to learn where you went wrong. Analyze the game film. See your mistakes. Hear it from different sources. But this man that you're with is a grown boy. This is not your husband. This is love on layaway. You're holding somebody else's broken man, and you're trying to put the pieces together. And the longer you stay, the more you're going to lose yourself, and you will end up totally forgetting what love is and what a relationship is. So he's doing this because you're allowing it. He's doing this because you're staying. And you cannot expect anything different from him until you demand something different. And I believe in this situation, that may take you cutting him off completely and leaving and breaking all ties completely for him to get the message. And even then, I feel like he may say, good riddance. We were done a long time ago. This was over before it even started. And if that's the case, that's love. And you're going to have a story to tell, share it with your kids. If you have kids, share it with your neighbor's kids, help somebody else from this, disaster that you've lived through. Thank you so much. I think we have time for one more question.
Hi, my name is Chantra from Chicago. I'm your Instagram friend. I was calling because I wanted to know, how do you know when a relationship is coming to an end? I've been with someone for 7 years, and they just told me today that 90% of the complications in the relationship is my fault. So now I really don't know what to think. Please answer my question. It would be greatly appreciated. Thanks. Have a blessed day. Bye.
Thank you so much for that question. You know what? When you have to ask, we all want to ask a question, but it's a red flag in itself when you have to ask the question. So when you have to ask, how do I know if this relationship is coming to an end? That's your sign that you really have to pay attention to it. Now, anytime as humans, we will always be able to blame 90% of the problems on the other person because we don't oftentimes look at ourselves. We don't oftentimes look in the mirror. So we can always blame somebody else, and it sounds like that's the state that he's in. You don't sound distressed. You don't sound depressed. You didn't have any shakiness in your voice. You sound pretty composed, you know, like you got it together. You see the end is near and that you're preparing your mind and that you're getting ready to move forward with your life. Take that strength, take that peace. Let this be confirmation in your spirit that you're on the right track, you're moving in the right way. And if you all can't sit down and talk this out, and he can't fully not only just share with you what he needs from you, but also be man enough to admit to his own shortcomings. When a person can't look themselves in the mirror, because none of us are perfect, then that's a bad sign. So if you're doing all the wrong and you don't agree with that, and he doesn't see his wrong, then you're wasting your time. So when the love feels like it's gone, when the communication breaks down, remember, communication to a relationship is like oxygen to life. When the effort stops, you know the end is near. And unless the two of you can sit down and agree that you're going to fight for it, I will cut ties while you still have your sanity and your safety. Hey, thank you so much. Took a couple extra questions today. I want you to make sure that you subscribe so you'll be notified. If you have a question, make sure you call in. You don't have to say your name or your location if it's, super secretive, but call in, leave me your question. Fellas, I want to keep hearing from you. Thank you to the two gentlemen that called in on this episode. And make sure you subscribe so you'll be notified, and also keep an eye out for my Sunday sermons, which will just be a little bit of a boost of motivation and inspiration for the week ahead. Thank you so much. We'll talk soon.